Hello everyone, my name is Israel Malavat from My Florida Regional MLS. Today, we're going to be walking you through the add-edit process as it is in the Matrix system. Before we begin, I'd like to draw your attention to what I am displaying on the screen. What is on there is the call center information for any support needs you may need. Our call center can address any issues you may have or questions you may have via email, as well as live chat, as well as through phone calls. The call center is available to you 7 days a week, Monday through Sunday. Monday through Friday, they are available from 7:30 a.m. to 7 p.m., Saturdays from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m., and Sundays from 9 to 2. The call center phone numbers are toll-free 800-686-7451, and for those of you that are local, you will see 407-960-5300 as your option for calling in. Regardless of which number you use, option 1 will get you over to our call center folk so they can answer any and all questions you may have. We're going to go ahead and get started and jump right into the Matrix system. By this point, everyone should know how to get to the Matrix system. However, if you are unaware of the URL, it is located right here at the top of the page, mfr.mlsmatrix.com. You can also reach the Matrix system via our login portal at mfrlogin.com. Once you are logged into the system, the very first thing you want to do to enter or edit any of your existing listings is click on the Add Edit tab located at the top right side of the Matrix system, right before the Administration and the Help tab. So I'm going to click on the Add Edit button here, and it brings me to this input window where I can make a decision on whether or not I'm going to add a new listing or edit an existing one. For demonstration purposes, we are going to be working with Add New Listings, so I'm going to go ahead and click on that option. Once I click on that option, you will see that I am presented with the actual property type. Select the one individual property type that I want to enter a listing for. For this demonstration, we're going to be using the residential property type. I'm going to click on the residential and automatically am brought into the tax auto pop window. Now, the first thing you're going to notice is that the layout is a little bit different than what you're accustomed to seeing. You have your counties listed all to the left-hand side of the page, and then your listing characteristics to find the exact property you're looking for are over to the right. Across the top are the 3 different options that you have to start a new listing. Obviously, you have the fill from the tax records or the tax auto pop as you know today. You also have fill from cross property, meaning that you're able to do a search, find the property that you want, and populate those listings via a copy functionality. Or you can start with a completely blank form and fill in exactly what you need across the board for all fields. We are going to work with the tax auto pop function, so I can show you how that works. So first and foremost, I need to select the county that I am going to be searching for my property in. And orange is the county that I'm looking for. And what I'm going to do is use the street number in combination with the street name to find the property that I need. So the property street number is 2307, and the street name is Ash. So I'm going to type in the full street name and the street number. The direction, the type, the unit number is not necessary unless you're really dealing with a condo and all these condo units or in the same building. You want to then use a unit number to identify the specific unit in that building. You can also use the tax ID or owner information if you'd like to use that to search for your property. Once you have the information that you're going to use in the required spaces, hit on search. The system is then going to go through, find your property, and display it for you in this single line view, and have an option of fill right here at the beginning. By clicking on this fill, it will populate my listing fields with all the needed information, the tax information, the address information, so forth and so on. Once you move into the actual listing part of it, you will be presented with all the normal fields you are used to filling in for your listings. The listing date, expiration date, you'll see that they are highlighted in a gold or mustard color. Any field that has this color on it is a required field. So of course I need to fill in my listing date. So I'm going to put in today's date of 6/5/2014. And an expiration date, generally speaking, a contract would go for about 12 months or so. Depending on the contract you sign, it could be more, could be less, but generally speaking, it's about 12 months. So that's what I'm going to put my expiration date for. So it's going to go 6/5/2015, full year out. The list price field is very straightforward and self-explanatory. It is what you and your owner or seller have agreed to sell your property or represent your property for on the system. So I'm going to put in 200,000. As you can see, no decimal point or cents are needed. Simply type in your dollar value in there. Your range pricing, yes or no. If you hit the drop down here, select whether or not there is range pricing. That just allows you to set a low price. Your list price would be your high price. Your B range list low price would be the low price, the lowest price you would be willing to accept on a listing. Listing type is the next required field. I'm just going to choose exclusive agency, or exclusive right to sell actually is what I'm going to choose. You, of course, will choose the option that applies to you. Representation, is the seller represented? Is the seller not represented? The next required field that I do come up to is the special listing type field. And what this is referring to is exclusions, variable commissions. If this is not applicable to you, if any of these options are not applicable to you, select not applicable. And once we get into the address area, you will start seeing that the tax auto pop has done its work. It's filled in my street number, my street name, the street type, which is boulevard, the zip, state, city, county. All of that information has been filled in. Throughout the presentation, you're going to see me mostly focus in on these colored fields. That's all for time's sake. However, I will recommend to any and every one of you listening or this recording to always fill in all fields that apply to your listings. This does a couple of different things, but mainly it exposes your listings to a lot larger of a crowd. Members are very creative with the types of searches that they create to find listings. So the more fields you have populated in your listing, the more likelier you are for your listing to be found. As stated, the address information, all the required fields for the address information, including the zip +4, have all been filled in. However, there are several fields on here that are not required, however, house certain information. So street direction pre and street direction post. If it applies to your property, be sure you fill in all these fields. The school fields, in some instances, maybe your broker may or may not require you to use these fields. However, people are searching by schools. So if you have schools and the person next to you in the office does not have schools populated in your listings, your listing will be found before your coworker's listing is found. So fill in every single field that applies. The next required field is the auction yes/no field. I'm going to say no. However, if you say yes to these fields, you also need to fill in auction date and auction time to complete the trinity of fields here. You will notice the map functionality here is not a separate function anymore. In ML Exchange and Infusion today, when you're entering in a listing, your mapping functionality is something different, and you have to adjust it by placing your car and that little house icons over the property so that whoever is searching via maps locates your property. If you do not set this field right and someone is searching by a map, your listing will not be found. So please be sure to simply click on this option right here, get lat and long from address. When I do that, you'll see my map refreshes and my property is identified by a pin on the map. So now if anyone ever did a map search and this area is encompassed in their shape or in their search via the map, my listing will also pop up on any of the results, so long as my characteristics also matches their criteria. Once you have this first sheet filled in, you want to come back up to the top here and click on the next tab. To progress through each one of these areas is simply clicking on the tab to move forward. So I'm going to click on the next section, which is pool/exterior information. And you'll notice that all the pool and exterior info fields are all grouped together in this section. So I'm going to start by selecting whether or not this property has a pool, and it just so happens this one does not. So I'm going to select none. Because the community does not have a pool either, I have to pick none to designate there is no pool available, private or community. If I chose that private was the type of pool that they had, the pool type and dimensions would also apply to you. So please make sure that you fill in these fields along with pool field. My property style, this is where I'm going to pick single family home, condo, co-op, or whatnot. However, or whatever satisfies or fits your listings, select those that apply. My property description, this is a first floor multi-story. However, I can pick up to 4 different types of descriptions to describe my property. So even though this is a first floor, it could also be an end unit. You can select 1 story. You know, whatever is going to apply for you in this area, you can pick up to 4 selections. The next one is the location field. You have up to 10 options to choose from in here. So you can choose things like close to bus line. This is a corner lot. You live in a cul-de-sac. This is where you would choose whether or not there was golf course frontage, golf course view, green belts. So those are the kinds of things that you would select from the location box. You don't have to use all 10 options, but do choose all that apply. The next field is foundation. The foundation field allows you to pick what kind of foundation your property was built on, whether there is a basement, a crawl space, whether the foundation is just a slab laid down, a stone wall, or built/wood pile. So this is a slab built property, but you can see that I have up to 3 that I can select. One field that I want to point out here is front exposure. It is not a required field. However, you might come across a member that is into the feng shui type of listing or type of lifestyle. So the facing of their property would be important to them. So you want to find out where the front exposure, what direction the front door of the house is facing. This is where you would pick that. This could be one of the fields that is not a required field. However, if someone is searching via front exposure and you have that information in there, they're going to find your listing. So it just maximizes the opportunity for your listing to be found. Exterior construction. What is the outside of the house built of? Well, this particular property is block and brick, but I do have up to 5 options to choose from. The roof. What kind of roof? What does it have on it? In this case, this is strictly a shingle roof on this property. So even though I do have 3 options, I'm only going to choose the 1. What kind of features are available for this property in the exterior? Is there a barn, a balcony/sun deck? Is there a detached workshop, a detached in-law apartment for when the in-laws come over and visit? You want to make sure they have their own privacy. This property does have a fenced-in yard and actually does have French doors on the back of the house, so I'm going to go ahead and include those there. The house has a 2-car garage, so that's all I'm going to pick here, although you do have 3 options to pick from. For those more modern houses or higher dollar value houses, they have a lot more features. You'll see a lot more garage features available for those as well. So garage features, is there a bath in the garage? Is the garage detached from the house? Does it have a door opener? These are the kinds of things your buyers want to know. Once you've satisfied all the required fields in here and all of the fields that apply, go back up to the top and click on the next section, which is the land and tax information. You're going to see just about most of the required fields in this section are filled in. There still are a couple here that you need to address, but you'll see things like your tax ID, the year built, the zoning for this property, the tax year for this property. All of that information has been populated. However, you do have fields like additional parcel. Is there any additional parcels to this property? No. The total acreage, you choose whichever applies to you. The homestead, whether or not the property has the homestead paperwork on it, this one does not. The CDD. CDD stands for Community Development District. Is this one of those kinds of communities? Yes or no? If for whatever reason you had any questions on what these fields are, just as you're used to today, for those of you that already have the ability to add and edit listings, you have these question bubbles next to each of the fields. When you click on it, it gives you a description and a definition as to what this is all about and what this field is asking for. So please feel free to click on that question bubble if you have any questions or if anything is unclear as to what you need to do with a particular required field. Once you have satisfied all the required fields in this area, you can go ahead and move on. And I'm going to click on the interior information now. You'll see that things for the interior that were auto-populated are things such as your square foot heated, your beds and baths. Half baths is a requirement, but there is no half baths, and it does not auto-populate. So if there are no half baths, you must fill in a 0 in this field. I want you to also notice that even though the square foot heated, the beds, and the full baths was something that was populated via the tax auto pop, it's still a free-form text field and can be addressed. If, for example, the beds, you know there are 4 bedrooms in that house, you can go ahead, remove it, and change it to your 4. Square foot heated, same thing there. If you needed to add or take away some square footage because it's not the same anymore, you can do so by clicking into the field and making the edit as necessary. Square foot source. This is where you're going to designate in the listing where you got the information for the square foot heated. In this case, we did a tax auto pop, so I'm going to put public records. If the public records does not apply for you, if you manually typed it in, you can put in measured, or if it was owner provided, or if a builder or appraiser gave you this information, you can choose those as they apply. The utilities box is the next box that is a required field. So this is where you pick where there is BB/HS internet available. What that stands for is broadband or high-speed internet is available in that area. So I'm going to select that. The cable is available. Cable is already connected. We run off of city water. There's electric available there. There is no gas, so I'm not going to include that. So you have up to 10 options to choose from. Select all that apply. Is it central air? Is there no air? We do have those options there. Select them if they apply. Generally, heating and fuel is the same thing, is central, but there are plenty of other options. You can select up to 6. Appliances included. What appliances are in the property? There's built-in oven, there's a compactor, there's a dishwasher available, a garbage disposal, microwave over the range. So you'll see you'll have up to 13 items you can select from here. Refrigerators, all inclusive in this property when you buy it. The interior information. Is there an attic? Is there a built-in any built-in features, central vacuum, things like that. Floor coverings. Floor coverings right now is its own separate field as you know it. However, Matrix has upgraded its rooms section, so I'm going to just simply select one type of floor covering in here, and I'm just going to select carpet for right now because the field is reflecting as a required field. So I'm just going to select one. However, when you are entering the room dimensions, and you'll see when we get to that section of the demonstration, that you are able to add a floor covering per room. So you're able to add a lot more detail to the rooms in order to make them more accurate. Last but not least in this section, fireplace, yes, no. Is there a fireplace available? This one does not. However, if I were to select yes, fireplace description would be the only natural next field to fill in. So when I say yes, the fireplace description will allow me to say where it is. So the fireplace is in the living room. Is it a gas type of fireplace, a freestanding? Is it a wood burning? You know, those kinds of options. So fellow co-workers, so to speak, will appreciate that because when they're doing their searching, they're able to fill in the fireplace description and find your listing. The next section is the rooms section. So the first thing you'll notice is that the rooms are no longer automatically lined up for you and just waiting for you to enter in the dimensions. You have to hit the drop down for room type and then select the first rooms you want to display. So if the first room you want to enter in information for is the second bedroom, select that. If the first room is the master bedroom, select that. I'm going to select master bedroom, and then I'm able to select the room's level. So what floor of the property? This is a single floor property. So I'm going to select first level. If this was a multi-story property, and this master bedroom was on the second floor of the house, that's what I would pick. Fourth floor, third floor, basement. However, it applies to your listing. Your room dimensions themselves are still entered in a 2-digit by 2-digit format. So, the master bedroom is 50 by 50. I know that's a really large room. I would love to live in there. But 50 by 50 would be my dimensions. Just throwing some numbers out there as an example. This is not the actual dimensions of the property. And then, as I stated, you're able to access the floor coverings per room. So I'm going to put in this room. This is not a carpeted floor, so I'm going to look for the type of floor covering there is, and there is a laminate floor covering in this room, so I'm going to select that. And then if I want to continue adding more rooms, I'm going to click on More, and it's going to make the additional rooms section available to me. So then I'm going to come here. My second bedroom is also on the first level. This one is a 20 by 20 room. And this one has bamboo for the floor covering. Just as an example, just letting you know that you do have multiple options. I'm going to select one more, the kitchen here. And my kitchen is also on the first level. This is a 19 by 22 kitchen. And the kitchen has also laminate floors. If I included one too many bedrooms or hit the More button by accident, what I'm going to do is simply click on Delete. So I'm going to click on More on purpose this time, and then click on Delete to show you that it does just go away and will eliminate the last one that was available for you. Once you have all the rooms, be it bedrooms, kitchens, living rooms, great rooms, family rooms, so forth and so on, the many different room types that are available, once you have all of your rooms selected and laid out with level, room dimensions, and floor covering, you can move on to the next section, which is the water and green features. So here at the very top is all of your water information, whether or not it has water access, view, frontage, or extras. The yes, no's are at the top, and the corresponding type fields are directly below that. So if I were to say yes to water access, I would then want to obviously select the type of water access there is. So I have access to a creek. And you would do that to all of the water fields that apply. Down here at the bottom, you have the opportunity to name the water name and the waterfront feet, which would be a measurement. Down below the water information is the green features. Green features are becoming steadily popular, so you will see that we have report pages that highlight the green features. They're also included on reports like the broker full synopsis. You'll see those on there, and the customer full synopsis. You'll see them on there as well. So green features do help sell the property. People are interested in green features these days. So if there are any kinds of green features available on your property, please do make sure that you do select any and all that apply. I'm going to go ahead and progress through to the owner information here. Now, the owner name, you do not have to include owner name. You can literally go ahead and just delete it right out of your listing and do not have to display it. Or if you feel more comfortable with having something in there but you don't want to display the actual owner's name, you can put something along the lines of confidential there in order for you to satisfy that field. The type of ownership, select the ones that do apply. Ownership is the only required field in this section, so please be sure that you do fill in all the required fields. I'm going to go ahead and move forward to the community features now. And the very first field I come across is the HOA/community association. Is there a community or HOA for this property? So if there is one required, select required. If it's optional, or none. In this case, there is none. However, if it was required or optional, obviously the HOA fees, the HOA payment schedule, and all the other information that's regarding the HOA information would be to your benefit to fill in. Is this a housing for older persons? Housing for older persons, you can confirm if a property has been registered as a 55 or 62 and older community via the FCHR website, which is the Florida Commission on Human Relations. You'll find a link directly to that site on our external link section back on the home page of the Matrix system. If it is on the FCHR website, go ahead and hit this drop down here and select yes. If it is on the website, the affidavit is not required, so you would say no, and you will not be required to fill in an expiration date. However, if it is not on the FCHR website, an affidavit is required as a listing attachment and is required to be uploaded to the listing as well, so that anyone viewing the listing can look at the attachments and view the affidavit. The affidavits are generally valid for 12 months from the date of signature and notoriety. Once you have that affidavit notarized and signed by the actual complex or the association there, you will upload it to your listing as an attachment, and then you would select the expiration or renewal date. The pet fields. Are there pets allowed? Yes, no. If there are pets allowed, are there any restrictions? Yes, there are restrictions. Number of pets, total number of pets allowed in the property. So you could only have one pet allowed in this property. Maximum pet size, you're able to pick from different weight classes, large breeds to medium, small, very small breeds, or even extra large breeds that are 100 or over pounds. So in this case, the pet size is only medium, from 36 to 60 pounds is maximum. Max pet weight, again, you can just refer to the weight section under the size of the pet. So you could put max pet weight, 60 lbs. So it doesn't allow for the texting here. So just put in the actual number value of the weight. And then the pet restrictions is a text field. So this is where you would actually type out a description of the kind of restrictions there are for the pets. So this is where you would put either no large breeds or no aggressive animals or no guard dogs allowed. So things like that is where it would be classified a restriction of the type of pet allowed on this property. The next tab over is the Realtor tab. This is the tab that pertains to all of your information and the information regarding confidential information. So for example, the financing that's available, the Realtor info, and the Realtor info confidential are all here. You'll also find things like the showing time secure remarks. Down here at the bottom are the public remarks and Realtor only remarks sections as well. So you want to go through here. First of all, your ID number is populated in there, and you'll see that my information is all included there. If there is a listing agent 2 or a second listing agent, a co-listing agent as it's known in the system, you want to put that person's ID in there. Interoffice info. This is information that is passed along within the office. For example, if there's additional commissions available for someone within the office that sells this property, this is where you would put that information. Your compensation fields. Compensation amounts are entered in a very specific fashion, or the system will not accept it. For me to enter a single agent comp, let's say, for example, I'm only offering 3%, so I'm going to put in the 3 number and then the percent symbol right after the number. The non-rep comp, for example, let's say I'm adding a straight dollar value. I'm offering a $1,500 commission to the non-rep person. So I'm going to lead off with a dollar symbol and then put my dollar value right after it. And then I can actually do a combination of these two. So I can say 3%, but then I'm not paying the closing costs. So I'm going to say minus sign, dollar sign. I'm not paying the closing costs. So you can put that all in one continuous string and have that information displayed in there. The showing instructions field, I need 24-hour notice, and this is only done via appointment. You can pick up to 16 different options in here. And then you can put in here that the lockbox code or you can leave a message, for example, do not open any windows. So that way they know what they need to do in this property as they're showing it. This will display for them whenever they click on the showing request button. This is the instructions that they will see. The IDX fields. Is this property allowed on the internet? Yes or no? If yes, do you want to show the property address on the internet? Some people may decide that they do not want to show the property address on the internet. So when people are searching on places like MyFloridaHomesMLS.com, they will not be displayed the address, or if they're looking on the MyMLS app, the address will not display for them. I want to show the property address online. IDX, yes, no. Is this property allowed to go through an IDX? Realtor.com is its own separate option. So is it allowed on Realtor.com? I would say yes. It just maximizes your exposure. VOW AVM, are you going to allow for that? And are you going to allow for anyone viewing this property via an IDX VOW to display comments on your property? You can choose whichever one you want. I'm going to just say no, but you can choose yes if you'd like to allow people to leave comments on your property via IDX. And is this property allowed to go out to third-party websites? So I'm going to say yes to that. And it's automatically populated with the yes. Create an automatic virtual tour. By default, it is set to yes. And what that does is through Property Panorama, it will take the first 5 images of your listing and create a virtual tour for it. That will automatically be populated into the virtual tour link 1 space. Or if you had your own virtual tour provider that's going to create one for you, you can simply hit the drop down, say no, and populate your own link. A little word to the wise regarding virtual tour links. Please be sure that if you do have your own services for virtual tours, that you do not include any branded information in those tools. That goes against our rules and regulations when it comes to displaying virtual tour links. These links have to be marketable for any and everyone viewing your property and sending these kinds of listings out to their customers. So having your information branded within the virtual tour link defeats the purpose of what they're trying to accomplish, what all of us are trying to accomplish as people who use and market within the MLS system. So please be sure that no branding information, your name, your contact information, anything referring to your office is included in the virtual tour. You also have web links available here, so if you have some outside sources or resources you want to send your contacts to, or anyone viewing these properties, you can include those web links here, and you can include up to 2. Your public remarks, of course, are right here, and you need to. This is your marketing tool. This is your ability to sell your property. Include words about the listing, beautiful fenced-in yard, fantastic landscaping, things like that. This is your opportunity to sell your property. Type something in here about your property that people are going to remember. Your realtor-only remarks are included here, and this is what's going to appear at the bottom of the reports as confidential information. In this area, you can include information like compensation amounts and things like that. And your realtor remarks is your area for you to enter in information where your fellow realtors will read and understand what's going on with the property. Driving directions. This is your area, the turn-by-turn directions to get to the listing from point A to point B. So, for example, if you're starting from your office, you would say, from my office, turn north on OBT and turn south on Lee Road. Those are the types of directions you're looking for. You cannot copy and paste MapQuest directions into here, so you do need to type out your turn-by-turn directions. At the bottom of this area, and any of the text fields that are available, you do have a spell check available. So click on the spell check to make sure that everything in there is correct as far as spelling. And I'm going to click on status. Status is the last tab that you do come across. From here, you are able to select how you want to submit your listing, whether or not you want to submit it as an incomplete listing or submit it as an active listing. Now, if you choose to submit your listing as an active listing, please note that the listing will not be displayed as active in the system until 2 requirements have been met. The data requirement or element of the listing, all required fields must be filled in before this listing can go active. Please make sure you go through and you do fill in all required fields as they're needed to be able to submit your listing as an active listing. The second requirement is, of course, the requirement of the image. You must have at least 1 image in your property of the front exterior of the house in order for you to submit this as an active listing in the system. So for intents and purposes, I don't want to include this as an active listing in the system. So I'm going to just save this as incomplete. And even if I save it as incomplete, what's going to happen is I will gain the ability, once I click on Submit Listing. Demonstration purposes, you'll see that something was required in the rooms area, and that's identified by this little red exclamation point. And if I click on the rooms section, it'll bring me back here. There were errors on the input form. Click here to view the item. This link right here will actually describe to you what went wrong. You must have one family or great room. So it's telling me that I missed a requirement in the rooms section. So I'm going to come here. I'm going to hit the drop down, and I'm going to say great room. This is on the first floor, and I'm going to fill in all the information about the great room. But if the great room is not what you're looking for, and you have a living room, so that's what you would have picked. My great room is 25 by 30. That's my measurements. And then it's all marble here in my great room. Now when I go back and I click on Submit Listing as Incomplete, you'll see that it'll run. Input succeeded, and then listing has been successfully added, and gives me my MLS number right there for me. Once I have that MLS number, I also have the ability to add my photos and my supplements. Supplements equal attachments. It's what you know today as the attachments area. So supplements equals attachments. Keep that in mind. It's a subtle change in verbiage. So I'm going to click on Add, Edit Photos in order to be brought to the area where I can now enter in any photos that I want to add to this property. To do so, you'll see there is a Browse button right here. I'm going to click on that Browse button and then search my computer for the images that I want. So this is the front exterior of my property. I can either double click on it or single click and then click Open. It's going to load up my images. But if I had multiple images to choose from, I'm going to go back to my browse. Let's say a nice picture of the backyard, my garden. I'm holding down the Control key on my keyboard, and I'm just clicking all the images that apply. We have wildlife in our backyard, so I'm going to go ahead and click on the koala. And then I'm going to click on Open. So you can choose even up to all 25 of your images. Now, as you see, the koala was the last image that I chose, but it came in the third image slot. I can literally put my mouse over the header of this box, and it turns into that four-way directional arrow. Click and hold, drag, and drop into place. And as you can see, everything happens very fluid. There is no hesitation, no stutter in the matrix system. At the top right corner of the image, you'll see there's this little box where it says Show Photo Detail. I'm going to click on that. What it does is it opens up this box. Let's say, for example, your picture came in sideways or upside down. You do have two options here at the top to rotate your image so that it is right side up. And then down here at the bottom left corner of the image, you have the opportunity to enter a description. I'm going to click on that, and it's a free-form text field where I can type in the image, the name of the image. So if this was the front exposure, you can type in front expo or front exposure or whatever you want in here. Just the point is that it is a free-form text field, and you can type in anything you want in there. And once you're done, you click on Done, and your description will show up here. Once you finish, click on Save, and you'll see the image has now been updated to reflect the correct name of the image. You do that for each one of your properties, and once you're done, click on Save, and those images become a part of your property. If you wanted to view your listing from this area, you can simply click on the MLS number, and what it's going to do is bring you into the report page for it. So you can actually see your listing as it's coming together, being displayed in the actual report page. So you'll actually see the layout of this property. I'm going to hit the back button here and go back one step really quickly. So I can go back. Section here would be to upload your supplements. Your supplements are exactly the same thing. You click on Choose File. You locate the file that you want through your documents. Click on Open, and then Upload in order for those attachments to be in your listing. Once you have uploaded all the necessary attachments, you want to make sure that your supplement type is selected. So this gives you a nice long list of different kinds of attachments you could put up there, from a floor plan to lead paint disclosure to property disclosure, seller's disclosure. There's all types of options for you to choose from in here. Once you're done, click on Save, and that listing has now been updated with attachments. At this point, my listing has images, my listing has all the data filled in, and has all the needed attachments. Once I click on save that final time, I can then go back in, make my listing active, or if I chose to submit it as an active listing, it is already active once the 2 data requirements have been met of the images and the required fields. At this point, your listing will appear in the system as an active listing, and any and everyone who does a search where they are using characteristics of your property will find your listing. I hope that this video was informative for you and teaches you how to enter in a new listing in the Matrix system. I thank you all for watching, and I wish you all a very good day. I'm Israel Malavet from My Florida Regional MLS. Thank you for watching.